What's up everybody in YuGiOh YouTube land, this is Jesse Byrne representing Team FTK, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my spicy counter fairy deck profile. If you guys would like to enter our giveaway, please check out the link in the description. For the volcanic deck profile, please like and comment on that video. Also check out our Patreon and PayPal as a way to support us to help us make better videos. This is Jesse Byrne. Enjoy.
Get back to counting!
Yes, sir! Alright guys, so what I'm going to be showing you is my updated counter fairy deck profile. It's actually one of the more popular videos that we've posted on the channel before, and I've updated it many times. And I just wanted to, go ahead and update it for our new February format. Before I get into it, I do want to mention that this deck does not run the new pot card, Pot of Extravagance or Intelligence, whatever they're calling it. Just because that card is really expensive. It's the same reason why I don't run Card of Demise or hand traps like Ash Blossom, is because that shit's like really expensive, and I'm not gonna try and go all out and be like, oh, I just spent $400, $500 on my counter fairy deck profile. So this is a budget list. If you guys want to pick up a fun deck, take it to locals, you might top and just have a good time with counter fairies. So yeah, and if you guys would like to get your very own custom playmat, such as this one featured in the video, make sure to click the link in the description. Check out Inked Gaming, enter the promo code TEAMFTK10 to get 10% off your order today. So let's get in the list and I'll show you guys what I play. So we start off with 3 Guiding Ariande, or Ariana Grande, and basically this card lets you activate counter trap cards without paying cost, as long as you have this in the scale, which is really busted. But then also, if it gets destroyed by your opponent or whatever, or by your own effects, you can show 3 counter trap cards to your opponent and then add 1 to your hand and shuffle back the rest. Your opponent actually picks. So it's really busted. So you can be like, here's 3 strikes, put 1 in my hand. Really good. It sets up all your plays. You have to run 3. Then we play 3 Bountiful Artemis. This is like the main draw engine of the deck. Whenever a counter trap card resolves, you get to draw a card, and it's a continuous effect. So if you open this plus 4 counter trap cards, you'll draw 4 cards that turn. Really good. And then for defense, we run Triple Honest. Honest is a really good hand trap. This is the only hand trap that's in the deck, just because you only run light monsters for the most part. So playing Honest in the deck is really good for defense, and it's a good target for Ties of the Brethren. When you activate Ties of the Brethren on one of your other fairy monsters, you special summon Honest, add it back to your hand, and it's a really good card to have. Then I run 1 of each of the other fairies. So my reasoning for running 1 of each of these is because you can basically select whatever monster you want with Ties of the Brethren, and so you don't need to overextend your monster count and run like 3 of him, 3 of this, and 3 of that. You can just run 1 of each because you just get to choose which one you want from the deck. So I'll explain their effects. Basically, what this one does is the Power Angel. What she does is whenever you activate a counter trap card, she lets you search for a fairy monster. So it's really good for digging into the deck and getting your Honest. And it's also good for adding your Guiding Ariande, because it lets you just add any fairy, and it's really good. So she's basically more searchability for the deck. What the Sage does is, if you activate a counter trap card, you get to gain 1,000 life points, and then if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you get to pop a card. So that's really good disruption, and it's during either player's turn, of course, and it's just perfect to pop cards and gain life points. And then we play the Herald of Heaven, because you get to discard this to add Sanctuary in the Sky, and it's really good because it's a 21 body, excuse me. So that really helps. And then the last one is the Minerva, or however you want to say it. This one's really good because it gains 500 attack, and then it lets you add back counter trap cards from the graveyard. But like I said, you only need to play 1 of all these fairies, because Ties of the Brethren gives you access to all of your fairy type monsters. So 1 of each is perfect for me. Then I run one barrier statue in the main. This isn't as good as it used to be because Trick Stars are running around and there's a lot of other decks that play light in their decks, such as Burning Abyss, so you know, it's not as good as it used to be, but I still feel like main decking one is really good. And if you're going up against a deck like that doesn't play light monsters, it's really good because you can just like special summon this bad boy off of Ties of the Brethren, and then your opponent's like, well, I don't know how to get over it, so that's why we play one. Then moving on to the non-fairy type monsters, we run 2 Eater of Millions. So it's basically the same theory if you were to run the new pot card, except you're not drawing, but you're getting a monster who can attack and put your monster's face down, and then your opponent's monster's face down, and then he's going to gain attack. So it's really good for getting over problem monsters. It's a way for counter fairies to go second and to actually do more than just set traps and pass and get destroyed. So it's another way to get rid of your opponent's monsters. And I didn't want to run kaijus. I didn't want to run anything else other than Eater of Millions for going second, and just in case you lose the die roll. Last monster I play of the deck is Inspector Boarder. Inspector Boarder is insane. If I had 3, I would definitely run 3 in this deck, or minimal 2. But right now 1 is just fine because when I open it, if I'm going first, play Inspector Boarder, set counter trap cards, you win basically. The only other thing that would be better is if you were running more copies of Inspector Boarder. The only way this card would be more broken is if he was a fairy. Like honestly, if Inspector Boarder was a fairy, it would be like the shit in this deck. Then we run our Sanctuary of the Parshath. This card becomes Sanctuary in the Sky when it's face up on the field. And it also lets you recycle your counter trap cards and your fairy monsters, which is really good. And then it also gives them a boost and makes it where you can't target. Yeah, your opponent can't target. Yeah, they can't be targeted or destroyed as long as this card is on the field. So that's like busted, really good. And we want to play 3 for the namesake of the deck because our monsters get effects with Sanctuary in the Sky being on the field, but also because we play trap cards that say, you know, Sanctuary in the Sky needs to be on the field. And then to follow that up is the 2 field spell. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's still searchable through your big monster who is a walking terraforming. So basically you discard him to add one of these. So it's really good. So I like the ratio of playing 2 and 3 because it's basically playing 3 of the best one and then playing 2 of the runner-up field spell. Moving on to the rest of the spells is 3 Duality. You don't special summon in the deck, so this helps you dig for more counter trap cards. And then 2 Ties of the Brethren. So what this does is you pay 2,000 life points, and then you get to basically special summon 2 fairies from your deck, or 2 monsters of the same type and attribute. So you run all light fairies for the most part. So you just go Ties of the Brethren on your Bountiful Artemis, and then you can be like, oh, I can special summon 2 fairies. So you're typically gonna special summon Honest plus your Barrier statue, and then you're gonna bounce your Honest back to hand and have an instant protection. So just a little tutorial in case you guys don't know that Ties of the Brethren is like the best card to run in counter fairies, and if you're not running this card in counter fairies, you're not playing the deck right. It's just the best card to play in counter fairies. Then moving on to the traps, 3 Divine Punishment. This card is Solemn Judgment as long as you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field. So you just punish your opponent and you get to run 3 of this card, which is amazing in this deck because you basically have 5 Sanctuary in the Sky targets with the Sanctuary of Parshath and with playing the original one. So it's really good just to be able to negate everything and then have your monsters plus off of you using Solemn Judgment. Then we play Drastic Drop Off. This is really good because basically it starts off all of your plays, like it triggers all of your fairies effects. So if you start off with Bountiful Artemis, before your opponent even gets to do anything, you activate this on the draw phase, make them discard the card that they just drew, and then you get to draw a card. So that's really important in the deck because it just triggers everything to start off. Then we play 2 Divine Wrath. This is like playing Solemn Strike in the deck, which we do play 3 of right here. So with Divine Wrath, it's like playing 5 Solemn Strikes. and then you don't have to pay cost as long as your guiding Ariande is on the field. So the next up is your 3 strikes, and then 1 warning and 1 judgment. Excuse me, 1 judgment right here and 1 warning right here. So you don't have to pay cost as long as guiding Ariande is on the field. So basically you'll be activating your Solemn Judgment that is also recyclable through other cards in this deck. So you can activate Solemn Judgment over and over again. You can activate Warning over and over again. So I really feel like it's one of the most underrated budget decks, but it does have a lot of problems and inconsistencies. But it's really good that you get to play the Solemn package over and over. Then we run options for the extra deck. So these are just basically options, but mostly targets for your Eater of Millions. So we play the 1 Hip Star, little Nightmare package, Summon Sorcerer, Underclock Taker, Exiton Knight, Utopia package right here, Thunder Dragon, Gaga Cowboy, and your Taper. So the reason why we don't really run an extra deck is because the deck doesn't really need to run an extra deck. I would say if you guys want to include a card that I do not own is Fairy Cheer Girl, which would be good in this deck because you get to overlay 2 fairies and draw a card. It's not a bad option, but this right here is just for Eater of Millions or Extravagance. If you guys can't afford it, take out the Eater of Millions, play Extravagance, banish all your extra deck, draw cards. So something a little different that I'm going to start doing on my channel now is showing you guys side deck options that I like to play in this deck. So Triple Chaos Trap Hole, this is really good against any matchups of light and dark. Red Reboot, really good for your Altergeists. Ultimate Providence, just to negate anything, and you don't have to pay cost as long as you have your, Ariana Grande. Then this card right here, because it's really good. So what this card does is if your opponent, whenever your opponent ends the battle phase, they skip their turn when you activate this. So if your opponent tries to go to use Evenly Matched on you, you activate this, and then you say, no, you can't evenly match me, your turn ended, and I get to draw a card, and you just lost your whole turn for trying to use Evenly Matched against me, and it's a counter trap, so it's perfect. And then the last one is 2 Swords of Concealing Light and 2 Stormy Mirror Force. This is for people trying to attack me, OTK me, flip this, you win. And then this is for Thunder Dragon matchup. In case I have duality in hand and I want to dig a little more and I'm playing against Thunder Dragons, just flip all their shit face down and be like, okay, now I can play Yu-Gi-Oh again. So this was my updated list for counter fairies. If you guys like what you see, like I said once before in the beginning of the video, please ring that bell for notifications. Make sure to join us on PayPal and Patreon. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. This is Jesse Byrne representing Team FTK out.